What's up, all you minties? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and today I'm going to give you an advanced look at the Aliens, the original year's omnibus from Marvel Comics. So, let's do this thing. And welcome back, everybody. Before getting started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. This omnibus is due out in the direct market on May 19th, and then a couple of weeks later in the book market. What we're looking at here is the direct market cover, but to your left, that is your standard edition cover. The direct market cover is drawn by Mark Nelson, and the standard edition by Greg Land. Alright, so let's take a closer look at this. This is what the front cover looks like, Aliens. Here's what the spine looks like with the dust jacket on. And you have the alien down here. And the Aliens logo, very much like the movie. The original years, Volume 1. Love seeing that. We know we have a Volume 2 solicited. I'd love for them to keep going with this series. This one took me a long time to do an overview of. I was thinking about doing it here a couple of weeks ago, but I got hooked and I started reading it and I couldn't put it down. So I'll talk a little bit about that here and what the stories are about. Here's what the back looks like. It does have parental advisory. $125 is the retail price. Under the dust jacket, you have this wonderful image by John Bolton. Yeah, that's beautiful. And there is a lot of beautiful artwork in here. So let's take a closer look in here and talk about what the book is. Oh wait, I forgot. You all wanted me to do that angle again. So here you go. Foredge, spine down there. Right. Let's go ahead and get this opened. You have some black bookend pages. This gorgeous image of probably the alien queen and the aliens, the original years. Here is your table of contents with all the creators behind all of this. Kicking off the series is Mark Nelson with Mark Verheiden. And then eventually you have people like John Arcudi, Mike Richardson take over the books. Stephen Grant does the Alien 3 adaptation. And here is your page table of contents where you can find each of the comics. So we'll talk about what's collected in here and what this is really about. Because one of the things I've been asked is, if you have watched the movies, how does this rank up there with the movies? I'm a huge fan of the movies. Alien and Aliens are like two of my favorite movies of all time. My oldest daughter, one of her favorite movies is Aliens. I think it's up there with Gremlins, like I said, her two favorite movies of all time. And yeah, there's always this debate of which movie's better, Alien or Aliens. And the correct answer is Planet of the Vampires, but that's another story. But anyway, Aliens is my overall my favorite between both of those. So this is the comic book follow-up to the Aliens movie. So when Aliens came out, they approached Dark Horse with the rights to tell the Alien comic stories. So the characters that you'll see here are characters from the Aliens movie. So it's the sequel to Alien. And this is an important, very important note right here, is that in the first Aliens miniseries, the first three miniseries, when the reprints came out from Dark Horse, they changed the names of two of the characters. So Hicks and Newt are in here. But when the reprints came out, they changed them to Billy and Wilkes. And the reason they did that was because these comics came out before the third Alien movie, which unfortunately changed things for those two characters, so they had to rewrite these stories with different characters in mind. However, Marvel has restored the names to the original way that the books were written. So you do have the return of Hicks and you do have the return of Newt. So two characters that appeared in the Aliens movie. You can find out for yourself if Ripley comes back or not, but let's just say I had a lot of fun with this. I haven't read a lot of these stories in years, and then some of the stuff I've never read. So this collects the Aliens miniseries, issues 1 through 6 from 1988, and then the 4-issue miniseries follow-up after that, which is in the next year, 1989. The Earth War 1 through 4, Genocide 1 through 4, The Hive 1 through 4, Tribes, One Shot, Newt's Tale, issues 1 and 2, Alien 3, it's the adaptation of the movie. All 3 issues are collected in here. Space Marines 1 through 12. And the Space Marines are the comic books that came with the toys. So there were small comic books that came with the toys. And then material from Dark Horse Presents 24, which is what kicks off really the Aliens Omnibus here. Dark Horse Presents 42 and 43, 56, and then the 5th anniversary special number 1, as well as the Dark Horse Insider 14 through 27. So this is some of the artwork that you're going to be getting in here. And there's some Kelly Jones artwork in here. There's some Sam Keith artwork. This was a damn joy to read. I had a lot of fun with this, but I'm also a huge fan of the movies. So I'm trying to step back and see how someone that hadn't watched the movies would enjoy this, because I think you get so much more out of it if you like the movies, or if you've at least seen the movies. But going back to this, I think for the most part, Nelson and Verheyen do a really good job of explaining who these characters are and their ties to these aliens, the xenomorphs, where they originally came from, and then they build on their own mythos. Like they do their own thing, because this was the follow-up to Aliens. This is all that we had, was these stories. So I think for the most part, they do a good job of reintroducing these characters that if you hadn't seen the movies and you're not familiar with, you get to know through these series. There's also new characters like Butler and some crazy characters that of course, you always get crazy characters with these Aliens franchise. You get these characters that are like, oh no, we can control them, we can make them into weapons. That never works in any of the movies, and neither in the comic books. So the book is divided, like the first third is, like I said, a follow-up to Aliens with the characters of Newt and Hicks, and whether or not Ripley returns, you can find out for yourself. And then you get these one-shots in here, like these people are tomb robbers, but they're going after these artifacts that are going to make them rich, and of course there's aliens involved. There's a really awesome story in here. I think it's Simon Beasley that draws the artwork for it. It's a silent story. This one right here from the Dark Horse Presents 5th Anniversary Special Reapers. So it's about a race that actually eats the eggs where the face huggers come from. And they go all out trying to get these eggs because they find them quite delicious. There are no words in this, but it's got beautiful artwork. So there's little short stories that come from the Dark Horse Presents era. There's one in here in particular, this one here, that's drawn in there's no colors, it's just in black and white. And speaking of colors, for those that are wondering, the first miniseries that was originally published in black and white, they used the color masters for it. So it's when Dark Horse went back and recolored them, that's the masters that they're using for this particular omnibus. Now, let's look at some, back here, the Hive. This is done by Kelly Jones. It's got beautiful artwork. If you're a fan of Kelly Jones, he's the guy that did all the covers for the Nightfall era of Batman and eventually took over Batman when Doug Moench became the writer. So there's Aliens Tribes in here, and Aliens Tribes is pretty unique because it's written by Stephen Bissette, so it's more like a prose. It's not a comic. You do get pictures, but it does read like a novel. And of course, some of the pictures are on the opposite side. There's also Newt's Tale, and Newt's Tale is really sweet. I like this. Only 2 issues, and it's pretty much the story of Newt, but it's told through her eyes. How it all came down. If you've watched Aliens, you know what happens to her and her family and the whole colony, and you can find out from her perspective, and then when the Marines actually come in and rescue her. But here's the adaptation of Alien 3. This is the one that's written by Stephen Grant, and there's a couple of changes from the movie to this. Not very many, but the first part that pissed off a lot of us fans of Aliens, that's still in there. And then we see the Space Marines right here. These are the short comics I was talking about that came with the toys. I've never seen this collected. I don't know if it's been collected anywhere. This is stuff that was all new to me. And if you're wondering about this stuff, none of this stuff, the Space Marine stuff that came with the toys, none of it is canon. These characters don't show up again. They're just the comics were just written to introduce these characters for the toy line. There's a lot of extras in the back, though. Here's some of the extras. I'm not going to showcase them all, so you can be surprised for yourself. But you have a lot of covers. You have a lot of trade paperback covers. You have a lot of pinups. And you have a lot of original artwork back here. It's beautiful pieces by Mark Nelson. That is so gorgeous. think that was one of my favorite things about this is the variety of art in this particular omnibus. The stories itself is a lot of fun, but look at that Sam Keith picture. That's awesome. And this is the John Bolton. Yeah, this is what they use for Under the Dust Jacket on the front and the backboard. And let's see. Oh, when it was released in the UK, they actually have some of the magazine covers from that. It's really cool. I've not seen a lot of this stuff, and yeah, this is what I wanted to get to. Skip some of those to look at some of the Mark Nelson pages. All the afterwords from the original trade paperbacks are here. They collect all those. Missing none of those. Again, the book retails for $125, and it has 1,024 pages. We'll look at the binding here, and here is the Greg Land variant, in case, well, it's the standard edition cover, but in case you ended up getting the direct market cover. So, let's look at the binding. So here is the binding. Here's what the eye looks like. Book's over 1,000 pages, so not that big of an eye, but I've seen worse. This is printed by the iMac printer. But as far as the paper quality, to me, I've read the whole thing, cover to cover, and it didn't bother me. It's the paper is thin, but it's not as thin as, say, the Conan omnibus. As far as how the book lays over, I just wanted to go back to the very first story here from the Dark Horse Comics Presents number 24, and how the book is laying over. So there's a little bit of a gutter curve here. So there is a little bit of gutter loss. I'm trying to find some spread pages. I think it's the painted stuff here. So you can see how the spread pages are throughout this book. Now, like I said, I didn't have any issues reading this book. I read it on my couch. I read it on my bed. I read it here on the table. Time to time, I would have to hold it down to see what some of the words are. That's, of course, because of the gutter curve and the gutter loss, but not very often. Again, this, it's laying over nice. It's got beautiful artwork in here. So, for anybody that, of course, is a fan of Alien and Aliens, if you've not read this stuff, I 100% suggest you read it. And as far as people that are not familiar with Alien or Aliens, I mean, this is a really good introduction to the movies, and I think it will make you want to watch the movies. But, think of the movies, like, I always think of Alien as like a good horror movie. It's very claustrophobic if you're afraid of that kind of stuff. And Aliens, I always think of a great mix of just badass action with sci-fi elements and a little bit of horror in there. But that, as they say, is game over, man. Game over. If you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the contents, the page count, and the build of this particular omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below if you're picking it up, if you've never read it, any of these books. If you're a fan of the movies and have always wondered about these particular comics, let me know all those comments down below. If you have any more questions, leave them down below. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to check out our spread shop and our Patreon. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. More importantly, everyone, stay healthy, stay safe, and remember, in space, no one can hear you scream.